No hesitation on anyone. We talked about making everyone feel us. We know we're at a big time right now. All right, we answered that. We got another big test this week. All right, I did not plan on this at all. At all. But I had time to think about it a little bit. All right? I had time to think about it a little bit. Yeah, you guys got Victory Monday.
Hey, faithful, it's Greg Papa again, and I think I'm joined by the head coach of the 49ers. I can't see him behind that Corona beard, but that looks like Kyle Shanahan. Is that a lockdown-only beard? You're going to be coaching games with that this year?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided. I didn't plan on it, but a lot of work went into this during the quarantine, and I'm not ready to get rid of it yet. So, but it's a big debate in my household about it every morning. So we'll see.
How long did it take you to grow? I think Garoppolo could wake up cleanly shaven at 8 in the morning and have one of those by 5 in the afternoon.
I'm not like Jimmy. I'm definitely not like Saleh. It takes those guys by lunchtime, but it took me about a month to get it going. But I'm pretty proud of it. It took a lot of work.
And you've gotten very good at this teleconferencing, which the way, unfortunately, we're talking here. But as we segue to football, how has the offseason been for you to have the OTA, to not have it on the field? Have you been able to duplicate what you would normally do in the classroom by doing it via teleconferencing, Coach?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't practice-wise. There's been nothing. So, I really don't even call it OTAs. But being able to do all this stuff in the classroom by doing it on these conference calls, and that's been great. It's actually been more work than we would normally get in an off-season, because usually you get guys coming in the building, you got to travel between meeting rooms. They're worrying about lifting, running, doing things like that. You got to catch up for a while. There's so many other things there in the building. And now we just get on there and we talk straight ball for the whole time. So from just a meeting room standpoint, we've been able to do more this offseason than we ever have. Now, the negative is you only can meet so much. We're not training guys to learn how to coach. We're training guys to actually do this with their bodies. And that's what you miss in OTAs so much, because OTAs, we get these 3 weeks of teaching. Then you get an OTAs and you get 10 practices or so, and you get to evaluate them and coach off the film and say what they're doing right and wrong. And then they get away for a month and training camp starts. So that's what they're going to miss now, is those 10 practices that we get in OTAs and mini camp that are really crucial to get guys ready to go, and also to give the rookies usually a chance.
Talk about the rookies, obviously the draft players, but also the list of undrafted players you brought in. Is it going to be even more of a challenge, do you think, this training camp, to get them up to speed? Because yes, they can go through the mental reps, but it's all new. And then they're not going to have much time on the actual field, no joint practices. How challenging will it be to get the rookies up to speed?
It's a huge challenge. It's a challenge for rookies every year as it is. And they only get the OTAs after the draft, which they're a little behind there. And then they go into training camp and they got about a month to make the team. And people don't realize how hard it is to make a 53-man roster. And when you only have 10 guys on a practice squad and you don't have a minor league type system, it can come and go for guys pretty fast. And it's a huge issue not getting the OTAs for those guys, but it's nothing new. Kendrick Bourne, Solomon Thomas had to deal with this because they were on the quarter system 3 years ago. And when you're on the quarter system with colleges, they didn't allow you to practice till your graduation day was done. So I've had to deal with rookies in this case where the first time you see them is training camp. And guys have done it before, and it's going to be really hard for some guys, and some guys it won't affect as much. It kind of depends on the makeup of the guy, but it definitely is a challenge.
18 of 22 starters are back, but you have brought in some guys that are new to the roster, but brought in guys that know your system very well. Joe obviously is a tremendous football player in every regard, but stylistically, Trent is a little bit different. He's so athletic. You know him so well. We're talking about one of the dominant left tackles in the modern game and arguably in the history of the game. Just tell us about Trent Williams. I'm excited to watch him play.
Trent's great. Everything you just said about him. I've been so fortunate just in the places I've been to be with some of the best tackles in this league. And from Joe Staley to Trent Williams, being with Joe Thomas, Dwayne Brown when I was in Houston, I've been with some real good ones. And to lose one like Joe was crushing, and he had to do it. It wasn't something he could really have much of a choice on. It was the right decision for him and his family. But it was as a player very hard to replace. And when a guy like Trent just randomly can be available like that was the first draft pick that we made when we were there in Washington. And to be with Trent as a rookie, I mean, he was as talented as any player we've been around. I mean, he's the guy who I truly believe could play 3 technique in this league if he wanted to. The guy, if he goes to the basketball court, I mean, he's going to play point guard just as well as he plays center. He's that type of athlete, and it's pretty neat because, I mean, Joe Staley was like that too in a similar way. I mean, a tight end in college. I think Joe won the 200 coming out of high school in the state and things like that. So whenever you can deal with old linemen like that, who have that type of athletic ability and some size, it's a huge advantage in our game.
And obviously, he could have gone to a number of spots. He wanted to come here because of how good your team is. It could be a chance to not only win a playoff game, and maybe 3 of them, and win the Super Bowl. And he obviously wanted to work with you. He said that publicly. And he also said the quarterback. You know, he's got to pick, you know, how the offense is going to function, and he picked Jimmy Garoppolo. As you evaluate what he did for you last year, Coach, 1 year removed from the ACL, and project what he might do for you in 2020, what do you see from Jimmy Garoppolo?
I think Jimmy had an unbelievable year last year. When you look at him statistically, just percentages and stuff of what he did, he's extremely accurate, kept us in some very good situations, and won a few games for us too. And we had a number of games where he had to come out huge on some 3rd and long, some last-minute drives, and make some big plays that won us some games. And throughout the year, from him to really coming off what he had, the injury, the ACL, coming into this year at the starting time, or really his first game versus Tampa Bay, and how much he improved throughout the whole year. And then where he took us all the way up to the Super Bowl. Came up a little bit short, our entire team, but Jimmy was one of the better quarterbacks in the league this year, and there's still a ton of room to grow though. And he knows that, I know that, and to only have 1 year in this league for him to do what he did is very exciting. And I can't wait to get started with him this year, and expect him to get better and better each week.
So now, as you're preparing for your 4th year as the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, what is the state of this franchise, Kyle, going into the year 2020?
Well, I think everyone knows. I mean, the way last year finished, I mean, we had as good of an opportunity as you can ever have to be a champion. We came up just short. So that's by all means exactly what we're going for this year. It's what you go for every year. But, you know, our first 2 years, we struggled a bunch. And even though we finished 6-10 and 4-12, we still felt like we were winners. We felt like we were better than our record indicated, but we knew we had to improve it. And last year we went out to prove that we were winners and we could compete in every single game we were in. And we did that. And we did that as well as any team. The games that we lost, we barely lost. And it felt like even though we lost a few, we could have won all those. And to know that our goal was to compete in every game, and that we actually did, and came up 1 to 3 plays short from a world championship. It's been hard to sit with all offseason. It's also something I'm very proud of the state of the franchise, because we didn't luckily get there. We earned that. We earned that by doing it the right way. We earned that by playing very good football on offense, defense, and special teams. We did it with an entire team, an entire group. I mean, you look at the numbers across our whole team with how we played offense, defense, ran the ball, threw the ball, turnovers, everything with their whole team. It was as good of a football team as I've ever been a part of. And I know we were good enough to win that Super Bowl, and we didn't. And that's something we got to live with. And that's why the state of the franchise right now is we got to get right back to that moment. We got to get right back to that 4th quarter and get to have a lead, and we got to finish the job. And it's been weird with this quarantine and being in the off season, because I still feel like 2020 just started. But now I'm sitting here and I feel we're a month away, and I can't wait to get started, because it feels like we just left off at it. And I don't want to go through this off season. I want to get right back to where we left off in February. And I know we got to go through a season, and it's going to be a lot harder to do that, a lot harder. And we can play a lot better and still not do what we did last time. That's why all of our guys got to take this challenge, and we got to take advantage of this off season. And we got to still find a way to take a step ahead of other people, because everyone's chasing us right now, and it hasn't been that way.
I got to tell you, hearing you talk ball and the energy you're exuding, I'm pumped up. I can hardly wait for the season. Can't wait to see you. Stay healthy, brother. We'll see you soon.
Hey, same to you. Good seeing you. Take care.